Revit can import and link several CAD file types. The import CAD function is similar to inserting blocks in AutoCAD. You can insert or import a CAD detail and then explode it so that it becomes a permanent part of the current drawing that you're in. Or you can link a file similar to XREFs in AutoCAD where there's an actual link. If the drawing changes in the original drawing and is saved, you can, in Revit, reload that file. If you're working on a detail sheet, you want to go to the View tab and create a drafting view. And that's what I did here. Creating a drafting view, we can bring all of these details into different drafting views and then use them on our sheet. In the Insert tab, we'll be able to link files, import them directly into our drawing, and also insert images. Using VG, Visibility Graphic Overrides, in the Imported Categories tab, you'll see all of the different files that you've linked. At this point, you can decide on turning on and off these different layers. Since this detail has been imported or inserted like a block and exploded, all of these separate individual pieces are individual objects, but they've been converted to the Revit lines and detail lines. It is suggested that when you import CAD details or even link the CAD files, that you consider taking out the text, hatch, and dimensions, because when you bring them into Revit, they may not be consistent with the standards that you've established in Revit. One last thing as an overview of working with linked or imported files is in the Manage tab under Manage Links. You'll have several links here. Those are the files that are linked to your Revit file. The status is if it's found or not found. When you link a CAD file to Revit, it's looking for that file in that specific spot. If someone deletes or moves the file, then the status may say not found. And that's why we have the save path. The path is where you've actually linked the file originally. To repath that file, maybe someone needed to move it to a different folder, you could pick Reload From and then browse to where the file is really located now, that's new location, and then save those locations. You can also reload and unload your linked files. You'll want to reload your linked files to see if there are any changes that have been made while you're working in Revit. If there is more than one person working with a project, that person may be making changes and they're saving the file. You can reload it to see what those changes are. You can unload a linked file, taking it temporarily out of the drawing, but then reload it back into the drawing when you need it. So instead of removing it completely, you have a choice of that's similar to turning it on and off by unloading or reloading it. If at some point you decide that you want to break the link, you can highlight that linked file and pick Import, and that will import it as if you used the Import CAD function, bringing it into Revit and giving you the option of exploding it. Similar to the one that's on page 617 of your course book. I'm going to go ahead and pick Save. We'll go to the View tab and create a drafting view. We'll go ahead and pick Drafting View, and then the name of that drafting view, Jam Detail at Masonry. And we'll create a scale that's custom, 1:1. Pick OK, and you'll see it in the project browser. We'll go to the Insert tab and go ahead and click Link CAD. Find the posted file called B2020A-01, and in this dialog box you'll be able to change the color. If the background of CAD is black, then you might want to invert the colors to make them read easily on a white background, or you can preserve your colors, or you can pick black and white like we will. Go ahead and pick black and white. You can import here all the layers, or you can be specific to which layers you're importing. You can also use auto detect for import units, or decide on which units to use. We're going to use positioning as auto center to center. Let's go ahead and pick open. We've imported this detail at 1:1 so that once we have it in our drawing, we can adjust the scale for that detail. So at the bottom left corner, we'll be able to change the scale to 1.5 inch equals 1 foot. Also in this detail, we have these tags that we might not want. You can either delete them in the AutoCAD file before you import them, or you can select the detail and then in the import instance panel, you can query those objects to see what layer they're on. So if I pick query and then pick this tag, I'll be able to see that the layer is a wall IDEN. I'll be able to select the detail and then pick delete layers in that same panel. All of the layers will display here. I could put a check mark in a wall IDEN and then pick OK, and that layer will disappear. Another way of maintaining that layer would be to use the visibility graphics. If you type in VG, you'll be able to go to the Import Categories tab. As we said earlier in the video, I could just take the check mark out of AWOL IDEN and pick Apply, and the tags will disappear. That way the tags won't appear in this detail. We'll go to the Sheets and right-click and pick New Sheet. We're going to load in the Title Blocks folder the 8.5 by 11 vertical title block. We'll pick OK, and then drag and drop our jam detail at masonry detail into our 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. We'll go ahead and rename this sheet typical jam detail and see that we've created a new sheet in the project browser. So for this assignment, it's kind of a quick assignment because we were looking at linking and importing CADs in the video, and then in this assignment we created a jam detail based on a CAD link that we've brought into Revit, and then we created a sheet to bring that detail onto the sheet. Once you're developing all of these details, you may want to enhance your library of details by highlighting a view that has the detail in it. Right-click and go to Save to New File. If you save it to a new file, that new file will be a Revit file similar to this one here and contain the detail and just that one view. When you're ready to insert it back into a Revit file, you can go to the Insert tab and use Insert from File, Insert Views from File. We're going to create a 3D view of just the second floor. We can duplicate the 3D view, duplicate with detailing, and rename that 3D view second floor 3D view. And then we'll go to the south elevation and create a callout of the second floor. In the View tab, we'll pick Callout and create this bubble shape around just the second floor. And if you notice in the project browser, there's an elevation called Callout of South. We can go to that view and see that it created a callout of just the second floor. Now let's go to the second floor 3D view and pick View Properties in the View tab, or type in VP and put a check mark in Section box and pick OK. In this view, instead of cropping the section box, we're going to rest our pointer on the view cube, right click, go to Orient to View, and over to Elevations, and find that call out of South view that we created. What it does is it rotates to just that view as a elevation of that call out of South, and then we can use here the Shift key. Hold your Shift key down and press your wheel of your mouse and rotate that view. So now we have just a 3D of that call out. If you didn't want to see here the top part in different sections, you could go back to that south elevation and adjust the call out so that it's in line with the floor. Go back to the second floor 3D view and right click with your pointer on the view cube and once again orient the view to the south call out. What it does is it kind of updates it, and you can see that it's a little bit flatter. And if you didn't want to see the short walls of the floor above, you could go back to the call out or select here the section box until you get the blue grip arrows and just hold your left mouse button down on this arrow, blue grip arrow, and pull your mouse down until you find here that the ceiling is starting to show. If I select the section box, I can continue to come down a little bit more until I get a view looking inside that floor. So there are a lot of possibilities here in looking at a view that looks through the windows to it, or we could create a view that looks into just that second floor, creating a 3D view of just one floor using callouts and orientating to a view. If you'd like to turn off the section box, you can either type in VG and go to the annotation categories, scroll down to the section boxes and take the check mark out in front of the section boxes, or you can select that section box, right click, go to Hide View and Elements,